We have a major Flames trade update as a very esteemed NHL insider has officially linked Chris Tanev to the Dallas Stars. And I know we've speculated a bunch about Tanev going to Dallas and other teams and what teams are interested in him, but now do not be surprised if Chris Tanev does end up in Texas. Welcome to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here, you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe because 87% of the people watching are not subscribed. So if you love the Flames, you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors on Calgary, then make sure you subscribe and join the fastest growing community of Flames fans on the internet. But like I said, we have a very esteemed NHL insider, a very credible source that actually got to interview Dallas Stars GM Jim Nill. And unfortunately, it's not Elliot Friedman. I can't drop the F-bomb, but you guys know how much I do like dropping the F-bomb here on Flames Digest. But it is still a very credible source, and it is the Athletic's Pierre LeBrun. So without further ado, Tanev linked to Dallas. And like I said a bit, we as NHL spectators, as Flames fans, we have speculated Tanev going to Dallas, going to Toronto, going to Edmonton, going pretty much to any team within the top 20 spots in the NHL right now. But Pierre LeBrun, he got to interview Dallas Stars GM Jim Nill, and let's take a look at how it went. So, the list of teams pursuing Chris Tanev continues to grow as the Dallas Stars have shown strong interest in the Calgary Flames defenseman, reports the Athletic's Pierre LeBrun. Stars general manager Jim Nill wouldn't confirm that specifically, but he did acknowledge that he's eyeing an upgrade at the position. We've got a solid 13 forwards up top already, and then I know I've got a bunch of young guys down below, Nill told LeBrun in the interview. Defense, you can never have enough defensemen, so that's something we're looking at. What's the cost of acquisition? What's the asset cost? That's what we're monitoring right now. The Stars have been known for their defensive play in recent years, but this season has been a different story. They entered Monday ranked 4th in goals per game, but tied for 12th in goals against per contest. That's why I don't think we've reached our best performance yet, Nill said. I still think there's another level we can go to. That's finding the balance between offense and defense. We've been a pretty dynamic team offensively, but we know if we're going to have success in the playoffs, we have to tighten up defensively. And that's very true. It's almost surprising to see Dallas ranked 12th after they've been such a defensive powerhouse over the past 5-10 years even. Think of when they made the Stanley Cup final and lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They didn't have Jake Oettinger back then. We as Flames fans know just how good Jake Oettinger can be in the playoffs. If they can get some good, even better defensemen in front of him that are just shutdown guys like a Chris Tanev, my goodness, Dallas becomes not only a top contender in the Central, but they become a top contender for the Stanley Cup. And they're in a battle right now. They're in a battle with the Jets and with the Avs for that top spot in the Central. And they do want that because if you don't get it, that means you're playing one of the other teams. So it's very important for Dallas that they do add at the deadline. And they've quietly kind of been making some pushes towards certain teams. And I think top of their list, just like many others, would be Chris Tanev. Maybe they'd look at Hanifin as well, but I think Tanev could be ideal for Dallas's situation. Now, Tanev is one of the hottest commodities as the March 8th deadline approaches. The pending unrestricted free agent can invoke a 10-team no-trade list, but the Flames have already shipped out forwards Elias Lindholm and may ultimately do the same with blue liner Noah Hanifin. The Ottawa Senators and Toronto Maple Leafs have reportedly been interested in acquiring Tanev. The rugged defense-first rear guard has a $4.5 million cap hit according to Cap Friendly. So not only is Dallas interested, major interest from Toronto and Ottawa, the Ontario teams, big battle of Ontario, they got it going on. Ridley Gregg, my goodness, did he ever save the Battle of Ontario? But now there might be a new Battle of Ontario and it'll be a bidding war for Chris Tanev. I don't know if that's fully factual. I do see Dallas as a very good suitor, and we know they do have stuff they can give up. They haven't shipped away their entire future, and they have such good young core players right now. Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Miro Heiskanen. They are so good. They've picked up great players in the most recent seasons. I mean, look at Matt Duchene kind of having a bit of a renaissance season now, and they picked him up for pennies pretty much in the offseason, it seemed, after he got bought out by Nashville. So Dallas is definitely in a win-now mode, and that's why they could make a big push for the top Flames' trade assets, especially Chris Tanev. Now, in an ideal world, Calgary gets back exactly what they want, but let's take a look at Calgary's biggest needs. And when I say this, I know a lot of people will be thinking like, oh, is it between picks? Is it between prospects? Is it between players that can jump in right now? Well, I was looking at the Scores NHL Power Rankings, and they looked at, the NHL, every NHL team's top needs going into the trade deadline. And that doesn't necessarily mean what Calgary can get back, but more so, and I completely agree, it means for contenders to pay up. That is the Flames' biggest need. And look at that, 17th in the league, up from 18th. A whole bunch of Stanley Cup hopefuls could use someone on the Flames to aid their pursuit of glory, from Noah Hanifin to Chris Tanev to Jacob Markstrom. Offers would need to be substantial for Calgary to justify blowing up a team that's still hanging around in the wildcard race. The trade saga gets more and more complicated literally every single day that it continues. You add the layer of the players not wanting to sign here, maybe not wanting to play here. Then you add in, well, maybe they should keep playing here and the Flames should make a push for the playoffs. And then you add the layer of, you really need to trade away your top assets, especially if they're not going to make you huge contenders, and then you need to get all of your value that you can out of those guys and bring in the top things back that you can get, whether it's picks, prospects, or players, or even money. Everyone forgets about that. You can always throw in a little cash. Never see that anymore. I love that in baseball when you see cash for PTBNL, If only that happened in the NHL more. But either way, I'm getting sidetracked. That'll happen. The Stars are a team that can definitely give Calgary what they want, and that is to pay up. Dallas has some elite prospects. They have picks, and they also have players who could definitely jump into the Flames' lineup, and they don't even necessarily need to be a huge cap dump for the Stars, but they could be players that the Stars maybe don't necessarily need in order to still be top contenders. So the Stars are there. Another way to look at it is with Jacob Markstrom. If you want a team to pay up fully for Markstrom, do you want a goalie back in that trade? Or do you trade away Markstrom and then try and get another goalie from another team? We've seen teams that aren't top contenders be buyers at the deadline in recent years. The Ottawa Senators with Jacob Chychrun last year. Looks like they might do that again with Chris Tanev this year. The Flames could also be one of those teams. There was an article that came out not too long ago that was players that the Flames should go after, and it really didn't make much sense to me. It was like Anthony Duclair, I think it was Ferraro as well from the Sharks, and Bowen Byram, who would be ideal, but it'd be hard to pry him out of Colorado. But either way, we all know Calgary's biggest need right now is, of course, for teams to really pay up and buy the biggest trade assets that the Flames do have. The trade bait board is so filled with Calgary right at the top. And you would expect those players to go for a lot. The problem is it's so convoluted right now with contenders, with what picks they have, whether it's first round, second round, their top prospects, anything like that. So Calgary in an ideal world will get these top contenders, or whoever wants to buy and buy high, and sooner rather than later. The closer it gets to the trade deadline, the more squeaky bum time it is. It gets sweaty there for Craig Conroy and company. And my goodness, it could end up, maybe they won't get exactly what they need. But either way, it's not the worst situation to be in for the Flames. But anyone who watches the channel or pays attention to the Flames knows that it just gets more and more complicated every single day, it seems. And we're dying for something big to happen. The Lindholm trade was great, but it happened so early on that there has been so much talk lately and not enough walk. But hopefully we will get a lot of that walk soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw here today, you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you guys that interacts with the videos, watches the videos, and, just helps along with this journey of Flames Digest. And of course, go Flames go, and make sure you have a wonderful rest of your day.